Hey, how y'all doing out there? It's me, Robert Prash, the King of Comebacks with 2Ks, Creating Greatness Podcast. Hey, thank you for being here today. Thank you for lending me your ears, your eyes, and giving me that respect to come into your circle, man. And I'm very blessed to be here. We have an information-packed episode today. We're going more and more into depth with the championship mindset talks. We did the first one with my man Cam and CL. Check that out. And now, we moving into the solo episode, man. It's more like a shadow boxing type of situation today. So we're going to call this episode Shadow Boxing, man. We know iron sharpens iron, and it's the best when we can vibe and feed off each other. But I have so much on my mind about this topic, this championship mindset, this focusing on men being better, men becoming the best that they could possibly be, taking outside opinions from different men, from women, from children, and other sources on what they believe it takes to be a good man in today's society. And there's just a lot here, and it really goes beyond just being a man in today's society. It goes to just being a good human and what we have to do to stay morally just and righteous and how that benefits our life, man. So first of all, yeah, we're making the transition from everyday excellence into championship mindset. If you haven't checked Everyday Excellence series out, please do. Like I said on the real King of Comebacks with 2Ks at the end, Robert Michael Prash Jr. on Facebook, we covered a lot of aspects of human life and how to remain diligent, focused, and hold an expectation for excellence in all these small little aspects of our being, and how those small wins will rack up to bigger and bigger and bigger ones. So now we're transitioning into more of like philosophy, as where everyday excellence was a literal blueprint. Now we're moving into championship mindset, which is a mindset, man. It is philosophies. And yeah, that philosophy starts with the belief that iron sharpens iron, that we as human beings can work together to become better, man. And as you become better, I become better, and then we so on down the line. That's the journey, that's the path, that's what creating greatness is all about. So today is the solo, man. It's that shadow boxing, because whether we have the power of the tribe, which is great, to be able to skill share and have an open forum where we can discuss ideas and become better in that way, it's also important to get that solitude, to take the time that it's just you and God and your breath. And that's when the divine inspiration will hit, and you'll start receiving more and more wonderful ideas, and sometimes wondering where they come from. So hence this shadow boxing, man. And I guess I'll start it off with my lone wolf philosophy, man. And then we're gonna move into the weight and the responsibility of this thing, of being a good human in today's society, because it's rare nowadays. Not as rare as you may think. I'm not a doom and gloomer. And one thing that I know is you get what you look for. When you think people are being nasty, you're going, and you start becoming nasty because of that, you're going to run into more and more nasty people. If you stay loving light and putting out that positivity, you're going to run into more and more people with the like mindset. And sometimes it's not always steady or consistent, but that's the battle with us being human. We, even within ourselves, is like battling negativity and constantly bringing it back to light. So my lone wolf philosophy is this: if you are the leader in any way, shape, or form, and this goes back to another Lean Six Sigma philosophies, a Gemba walk. It's something that a boss must do, is survey their domain. When I was a manager, I would, first thing in the morning, walk the whole entire warehouse, every room, even the ones that no one went in, just to see if there were safety issues, check the cleanliness, make sure nothing was going on that I didn't want going on. It's the same way in my household, even with me being a stay-at-home father, so that I could sleep till whenever the kids get up, or I could definitely sleep longer than my wife. We must hold ourselves to a higher expectation. That's first, of being a great human. Hold myself to a higher expectation. So I'm up praying in gratitude that I'm here and I'm alive, and I see all of my family breathing as well. I'm meditating. I'm stalking the house, making sure everything's on point. I mean, this goes especially for nights. So more or less, I'm up later. Not only am I up earlier, but I'm up later than everyone. And I'm creeping around the house. I'm looking around. making sure all the doors are locked. I might check the camera, check the yard out, make sure all the windows is locked, make sure the alarm's set, make sure everybody's asleep, safe, where they're supposed to be, making sure I'm set up for success the next day. Stretching, doing yoga, praying, meditating, preparing myself, holding myself to a higher expectation. When everyone else is resting, I'm putting in work. Waking up before them, the same thing, praying, meditating, gratitude, checking out, making sure everything's good, making sure everybody's safe, making sure everybody's warm. You know, the protector, the lone wolf, is always creeping around in every situation. What's going to happen? That's my next thing. Are you ready? Are you ready for anything? Do you hold a mentality that anything can happen at any time? And are you prepared for that? Do you use the things that concern you in the world to increase your readiness, or do you use them to paralyze you in the fear? It's something that we have to be very aware of. You know, the constant struggle and strife that goes on within the human mind. If you're looking at things out there in the world today, there are most definitely concerns, no matter where you fall on the political spectrum. And you can let those fears make you angry, or bitter, or upset, or sad, or depressed, or all that, which absolutely accomplishes nothing for your life other than making it worse and degrading the conditions of your life. That if there was an agenda for that to happen, it's doing exactly what it was meant to do: decrease your health, decrease your joy, decrease your peace, make you more susceptible to illness, more easily manipulated, more easily led astray. So we're talking about being a leader. We're talking about championship mindset. We're talking about being direct, being firm, being assertive, being calm, cool, and confident in our mindset. So we're aware of these things that are going on in today's society. Like I said, no matter where you fall on the spectrum, there's things that may concern you. Do you maintain your readiness? You know, there's a couple of examples, like when I walk into a restaurant with my boys, I know where all the exits are. I know where all the people are. I know what color clothes people wearing me are wearing. And I'm not crossing that line of eavesdropping or being nosy, but I'm just maintaining the awareness. How do I get out of here? What if something happens? If me and my family are walking on the trail, just like we were yesterday at the Arbitorium, and I posted pictures on King of Comebacks on Instagram, am I looking down all the side trails, just seeing it? We're in a wild area. You know, yeah, there's people walking around and stuff, but you're also in a land of coyotes, javelinas, spiders, scorpions, rattlesnakes. Are you aware? It's 99% chance that it'll never happen. But if it did happen, I'm going to know first. I'm going to know before it happens. It's like my wife laughed at me when I said, hold up, because I heard a noise. And she seen a little bird about this big jumping around in the trees and the bushes off to the left. And she laughed at me and go, it's just a little bird. I said, what if it was something else? I would have known before anybody else. And that's what we're talking about. That's the skill of observation. That's the skill of awareness. And it's a cultivatable skill. And it's something that we're going to work on here in Championship Mindset. So are you ready, man? Are you ready for anything? Everything and anything. You know, look out there, see it, understand it, and let's go to work. Let's go to work. And, you know, part of that lone wolf, that are you ready for anything mentality, it comes because I bear a weight on my shoulders, you know. And maybe there are some people out there that can relate to this weight that I bear on my shoulders. This responsibility that will not let me fail. And it's like when you grow up in towns like we've grown up in, or if you went to the military maybe, then you've experienced a lot of loss. And there's times where you'll start thinking about all those that have been lost to you and others in the world, robbed of their talent, their gift early. And then you can even think further to times that maybe you were very close to death your own self. You were in situations. Maybe you weren't even scared, at the time. But when you look back, you go, wow, we made it out. We made it out. And then there could even be times late at night when you think, why me? Why am I the one that made it through? So many similar situations that others did not. And like many things in life, you could take it one or two ways. Take it in a negative way and sort of spiral yourself down the drain, negativity, misery, and degradation. Or you could take it in a positive light. I must have purpose. I must be here for a reason. And I can't waste this time. I can't do those that didn't make it the disservice of wasting my life, of not sharing this message of love, peace, joy, and self-improvement. That I'm not going to share the things that I wish I would have heard when we were so down and out and in those close to death situations. So you're here. You made it. Let's go. Let's go. You know, recently I did a segment on my show with Tony Spencer from the Examine Life podcast. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. If you're into conversations, deep ones, deep dive interviews, and now he's doing some reviews of international films, which I feel is highly creative and very interesting, especially if you're into that kind of thing. But I did a segment with him, and I'm going to get back to it because I thought I liked it a lot. It was a segment on the evolution of the human spirit, and all I did was ask the person, "Hey, what music are you listening to today? You know, not what you like 10 years ago. You know, what song is hitting you in the heart today? What movie have you watched or show recently that you really enjoyed, that you liked today that maybe you wouldn't have liked 10 years ago? And what book what was the last book that you read?" And it's the same, because I think the book that I said was Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules that day. And, you know, I never would have read a psychology book 10 years ago until about a year ago when I ran into Carl Jung and his quotes. And then that got me reading him, and then that led me to Jordan. And I think it's important that we sort of measure our life like that. That if we are the same person that we were 10 years ago, you know, listening to the same music, reading the same stuff, watching the same TV stuff, watching reruns of Martin. That'd be mine, if I was still watching reruns of Martin. And it's important to evolve, to grow. And you grow by forcing yourself in uncomfortable situations. But also, it's okay, man. It's okay. Like, if, you know, I was listening to Biggie Smalls 10 years ago, and now I'm listening to, you know, country artists or whatever. It's okay to move on, to evolve. It's the beauty of the human spirit. You know, they have done these studies where they said, you know, you completely change yourself every 7 years, where you're absolutely down to the cells, a completely different being than you were 7 years ago. And of course, why wouldn't you be doing different things and saying and doing, looking at different things, saying different things, talking about different things, being around different people, all those things. It's the evolution of the human spirit. And Sadhguru says something that I really enjoy, where he says, you know, if you're 60 years old and you're still chasing women around like you were when you're 18, then, you know, you have some growing to do. You know, you have some growing to do. And part of the reason why we need to be continuing to evolve is the storm. You know, the storm. The storm is ever evolving. It's ever growing. It's ever changing. You know, and the storm is the chaos of life. The storm is chaos of life. But if we're able to master our emotions, which is highly difficult. And my only advice to it is pay attention to your mistakes. And it's important to admit when you made mistakes. And I'll admit one now. I just made the last episode on. If you listen to Championship Mindset Round 1 with Cam and CL, there was a part where I watched this Instagram reel about people making fun of stay-at-home dads, and oh, I got hot, man. I got hot. I'm right here on the Zoom pointing and yelling into the camera as if some of those jokers that were commenting making fun of stay-at-home dads were actually listening to the podcast. And hey, man, it's part of the human psyche. Anger and aggression, it's something that can present itself without warning. The best case scenario for me is I catch myself right away and take some breaths, man. It's that simple. It really is catching yourself. But there are moments when I don't catch myself, like one that you experienced last week on the podcast. And there's times where I catch myself and I still can't help it because I haven't mastered my emotions. And I'm admitting that here today. But I'm also admitting that I'm working on it, man. And that's part of the championship mindset. It's not that we're not failing. We're not making mistakes. It's that we're learning from our mistakes. We're paying attention to our mistakes and moving forward with more truth and righteousness. But if you master those emotions, man, I made this sort of example, and I wish I was an artist because I would draw it, where if you're able to master your emotions, you walk through life differently, man. Because as we progress through the day, as we walk through life, especially when you go outside your house, you know, it's intense sometimes, man. Especially if you're more a person that's like just yourself, just your family. You dwell in solitude quite often, and going out to like not crowded but semi-crowded places. Like I did a couple weeks ago, we went to Tombstone, seeing the OK Corral and stuff like that. And then yesterday we went to Superior, Arizona, an old mining town that had really cool arboretum there with all these cool plants that you don't see, indigenously or local or native, whatever you say. And so it's very interesting, man. But you get distracted out there, and you see things and your eyes light up and you hear things in your ears, and then it could be a lot. And I am guilty of saying things and sometimes behaving in ways that are emotionally driven. But as we more and more master ourselves and master our emotions, we could be in the center of that storm. All the distractions and all the chaos and all the drama and all the buy, and gimme, and this one, that one, racing this way, racing that way. The gossip, the drama, the ever swirling, ever changing, ever evolving whirlwind of chaos and fuckery in the world. But when you get centered with yourself, when you align the mind, the body, and the spirit through things like prayer, yoga, and meditation, and you continually hold that championship mindset to get that awareness, to cultivate that willpower, to control your emotions, something I'm very much working towards, then you can begin to sit calm amongst the swirling madness that life can be, and hold that power to reach out into the swirling whirlwind and chaos and grab what you want and take what you want and move where you want to go and jump in and jump back out. Because you have that power now. You have that freedom. You have that discipline and that self-restraint to just remain calm. And when you remain calm, you have clarity. And when you have clarity, you see things for exactly what they are. And when you're able to sort of combine all those things, man, it was like I was picturing when I was saying about the artist, like an octopus-like being, like a kraken or some sort of beastly monstrosity, but peaceful and centered in the middle of the swirling whirlwind. Or maybe it was a kraken, it was a swirling whirlpool, but with tentacles lashing on to everything that they were manifesting and everything that they wanted out of life. And they were able to get all those things because they were centered and calm in the middle of all that swirling chaos. So it's something that we're going to work on. It's something that we're going to work on together, man. If anyone has tips for me, please hit me up, creatinggreatnesspodcast@gmail. I would be more than happy to get a little bit of assistance with this problem, but I'm working, man. Regardless, we're going to keep it moving. The number one thing in 2023, man, is self. Work on self. Work on self, man. Cultivate the skill of self. Dig into yourself. You got a lot of people flying around right now talking about take this class, learn this skill, do this, do that, invest in this thing, and this is the next big thing and all that. And all that stuff might be it, but it's nothing until you cultivate yourself, until you build yourself up from the ground up. Get that foundation, cultivate that strength, and work on yourself, man. It's that championship mindset. It's the one goal, it's the one skill, it's that tunnel vision. It's the only thing you need to worry about is yourself, and everything will fall into place. You know, I used to tell my old bosses, like, I'm relentlessly working on myself. So you already know I'm going to become a better employee. It just has to happen, man. If you develop yourself, you become more righteous, more just, more physically fit, more healthy, more emotionally stable, more spiritually sound. You put all those things together, man, and it's going to fall into place. You're ultimately going to be better. All those things are just it. And there's more, but it's unique. It's tailored. It's you digging into you. You have to figure that out for you. But I can tell you that the work is there, man. And it's your work, no one else's work. So don't worry about the next trend. Don't worry about the next investment. How are you going to get rich quick? How are you going to get the better job? Or how are you going to get the promotion and a raise? Just work on yourself relentlessly, man. And all that stuff will come into place. And how you do this, explore your feelings, man. You know, we always talk about the holy trinity of spiritual and emotional wellness that turns into financial wellness and physicality and all these things: prayer, meditation, and yoga. And I say this because the yoga activates the body, the meditation activates the mind, and the prayer activates the soul. And when you combine these three aspects of who you are, you become unstoppable, man. So let's get there. Let's work together. Let's do it. Number one thing is you. And this is how you is explore your feelings, man. Go down the rabbit holes of how you're feeling, why you're feeling that way, when you're feeling it, so you can start to detach yourself from things. You can start eliminating things. You can start adding things. You can know where you're at, man. If you dig into yourself and explore your feelings and be brutally honest with yourself, you'll figure out who you really are, man, and be honest with yourself. Even if there's things that you don't want to admit, that's the most important things to admit to yourself, even if it's only to yourself. And once you do that and you're all the way out in the open, you're fully exposed to yourself, at least you know where you are. You know where the work lies, man. So once you know where the work lies, that other thing, the number one thing to work on in 2023, you know it all. You know where your work lies. You know what to do. Only you can figure it out for yourself. Don't let anyone try to sell you anything or get you to buy anything or go on retreats that cost thousands of dollars. You only need you. You only need you. If you can do any of those things, great, but you don't need any of it. You just need you. You, some solitude, breath, some prayer, a little yoga, move the body, stretch around a little bit, dig into your feelings, explore them. It'll lead to breakthroughs. But don't get pigeonholed. Once you start getting into yourself, getting internally, you start getting in tune, you start figuring out who you are, you start figuring out little aspects of who you are. Don't get pigeonholed. Don't get pigeonholed into thinking you're just that, man. It's like, when I was a kid and I first started figuring out who I was and playing sports, it was like I was the jock. That's who I was. That's all I was. And then that got messed up, and I didn't know who I was again. Then I, started getting in trouble, and I was the troublemaker, the drug dealer, the hustler, the criminal, the gangster, whatever you were. I grew up in the 90s. That's what I wanted to be. And then when I finally got my life together, it was working out, and I'm just a workout guy. That's all I did. And those things ultimately all crashed. And I was getting pigeonholed into little tiny aspects of who I was. I'm all these things. I'm still all these things. But I embrace the complexity of the human spirit, the evolution of the human spirit, the masculine and the feminine, the yin and the yang, the balance within me, man, the light and the dark. It's all in there. And I'm going to play with it all. I'm going to play to my strengths. I'm going to know my weaknesses, work on those. It all starts to fall into place when you start putting in that self-work, man. So explore your feelings. It'll lead to breakthroughs. Find out who you really are. That's where the work is. Don't get pigeonholed into silly little aspects of who you are, little identities that you want to cling to be something. You're everything, man. You're all of it. Embrace it. Integrate it into the most unique life that you could possibly live. That's your life and no one else's. That's the gift that you can give to this universe. Living absolutely free and unique. So also, while you don't get pigeonholed into little tiny aspects of your identity, don't get fooled by moments, man. As we're chug-a-lug-a-lugging along this journey, there's going to be moments of fuck. I'm going to explicit this episode because I said fuck twice. But there are going to be moments of fuck, man. You're going to wake up some moments and go, fuck. You're going to be doing chores or some monotonous task, or your kids are going to be screaming, or the boss is going to be bitching, and you're going to have a moment of fuck. You're going to have it, man. Don't fuck up your life for a moment of fuck. Realize it for what it is, man. It's just a moment, and it could pass as fast as you let it. Another one is a moment of just sheer tiredness. I have moments during my day, working out, running around with kids, doing chores, running, doing something for the podcast, hitting on here, on the laptop, later on the book, and I just get worn out. I get tired. And one thing that I realized, that moment used to have me running for another energy drink or, doing something detrimental to my health. That moment, just that one moment, man, where I was like, feel tired and worn out. But if I just sat through it, a minute later, I felt fine. Just like those moments of fuck, man, you just fuck, okay. That moment could cause you to do some crazy shit, man, if you let it. So don't get sucked into shitty moments. Understand it is for what it is, and don't base your next move on that moment, man, even if that moment lasts for a few. Learn to breathe, learn to let it go, learn to realize it is literally just a moment and may only be a moment if that's how you can handle it. And if you need more moments, fine, but don't turn it into a bad day. Don't turn it into a bad week, month, or even worse. Have the moment, understand it for what it is. Don't get trapped into it. Ladies, I just checked it out. Hey, man, I just checked my analytics, and I was very much surprised that most of my listeners, as of the last 90 days, are females between the age of 35 and 44. So first of all, I apologize to any of my female listeners for not including your perspective, for not including your point of view. I've asked a few females to come on. I haven't had any luck. I will continue to try to explore the divine feminine. I worship you for all that you are. And I love all the complexity and the uniqueness and the differentness of all you. And I'm just so blessed to have your ears on this voice. But you know what it speaks? You know what it speaks to me, gentlemen? That they missing the real men out there, man. That they missing the real men out there. That's what it speaks to me. Because y'all know 99% of what I say is based on being a dad, being a man, being a leader. And to have that much percentage of my audience be women, which I thank you so much, ladies. And we're gonna keep it moving for y'all. Believe me, we're gonna uplift the youth. We're gonna uplift these young men. We're gonna get it going with this championship mindset. I promise you that. And thank you so much once again. But it speaks to me that we gotta do better, man. We gotta do better, man. And the one thing that I think that we need to do is thicken up our skin. Thicken up our skin. It's a lot of men out there right now that are whining, crying, poor me, why me? We have feelings too, and all that stuff. So what? Put it to the side for the women and children. We don't need to know about your feelings. You need to effectively manage those feelings, man. Express them to your wife, because We have to do better. We have to have thicker skin, man. We have to stop getting hurt, or we have to stop getting offended by everything that's happening out there. We need to carry the torch. We need to be the leader. We need to carry our brethren through the fire, back to safety. We need to lead our families to the light. We need to protect our brothers and sisters and do what's right for the best case scenario for all of mankind. We are men. We must sacrifice. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But I'm going to tell you what, if you sacrifice in the right way, man, you get treated like a king. You know, yes, it's many times where I have to sacrifice my feelings. It's many times where I have to sacrifice what I want to do for the greater good of my family. But guess what? It's so many more times when I get to be living a life of luxury, to be living my dreams, to be sitting back with my feet up while my wife's cooking and she's making sure the kids are leaving me alone, because all those sacrifices that I've made, man, all the sacrifices that me and my wife have made to get us to this point where we could be living like this. It's all about sacrifice, man. So you could get what you want now and it'll be mediocre, or you could sacrifice and everyone would be blessed beyond measure. That's the choice we make as men, as good humans, beyond manhood and parenthood and fatherhood and brotherhood. You know, this is unification of the mind, body, soul, and spirit, and the people. You know, let's bring them in, man, like a tight hug. I got y'all. I'm here for you. I'm here for it. So, worst thing in the world, man, untapped potential. Thicken up our skin. Let's get tough, man. Let's train. Let's get in the gym. Let's increase our physicality. Let's tap our potential. You know, I remember guys around the neighborhood, you know, the guy I was using looked a mess, but he could fix anything, man. And he stayed high because he always had money in his pocket, because he could always fix something. He could fix a car. He could fix a washing machine, dishwasher. And I look at that, it's like a huge crime, man. And there's so many. There's so many that are skilled beyond the average person, but they waste it. Drugs and alcohol, chasing sex, and chasing vices, all around, gambling and everything else, man. These things are put here in our face to distract us from who we could potentially be. And if we keep enabling those around us to self-destruct, then we will self-destruct ourselves. So let's start calling everyone on their BS. If you're not performing up to your capabilities, I'm going to tell you, and I want you to tell me, because how else are we supposed to sharpen each other? The iron sharpens iron. How else are we supposed to do better? But it doesn't have to be a criticism. It doesn't have to be disrespectful, man. It's an encouraging, uplifting way, a way of concern and love. Like, man, I know you could do better, and I want to see you do it. And then when they get better, then you're doing a little better. And now y'all both doing a little better. Now the neighbor's doing a little better. Now the kids are doing a little better. You see how it can real fast start uplifting the whole community? It's powerful, y'all. It's that powerful, man. I've radically transformed my entire life, from drugs, prison, addiction, institution after institution, toxic relationship and toxic everything, to love, peace, joy, harmony, abundance, finances right, spirits right, emotions are stable, you know? That's radical transformation. And when you can do that for yourself, look who else I get to bring with me. My whole family, Mom Dukes is with me. I'm volunteering in the community. I'm trying to become more impactful. I don't care about money. I don't care about production value. I don't care about fame. I'm talking about impact. How can I help the most people? How can I dig the most people out of that box that I was in, that prison that I made myself? They didn't have to put me in a box. I was already in one, man. Get out of there. Get outside. Get out in nature. Take some breaths. Let's go. We're going to do it together, man. We're going to do it together. And a lot of times when you start saying these things to people, there's people listening right now, especially like when I talk about things like cold showers and stuff, man. And we already got the explicit label on the episode and said, oh, man, fuck that. I wouldn't do that. He's crazy. Okay. man, these things that seem weird, these things that seem outside the box, these things that seem outlandish, these things that you're looking at like, yo, it's the shit that works, man. It's the shit that works. It's the stuff that nobody's talking about. It's the stuff that nobody tells us, man. All these natural remedies, this cold water, this breath work, this meditation, this prayer, this yoga, these basic things that you don't need any money to do. Shit, I was taking cold showers when I had no heat back in the day. I didn't know I was doing something for my health. You know what I'm saying? These are the keys, man. And when you want to go past the next man, when the next man goes, I'm not doing that, and you do it, you set yourself up for win, man. That's giving you the competitive edge. When you're willing to go the extra mile, when you're willing to go farther than the next man or the next human, that's what's going to give it to you. That's what's going to give you the competitive edge. So when the one person goes, he's crazy, I want to do that. Okay, I'm going to go do it. And we're going to see where we at next week. So do it, man. Do it. Do the outlandish stuff. Do the stuff that seems weird. Just try it, man. You can always not do it if it doesn't work for you. Because I've put in and dabble with so many different things, man, and then I stick to what works for me. But keep it open mind. Keep it open mind. If it sounds weird or outside the box, man, it may just be the thing for you. It may just be the thing for you, man. And when you get there, share it, man. When you get there, share it. You know, for the longest time, I worked for some clowns, man. I worked for some busters. And they would gain all this knowledge about certain processes, procedures, inside information about things that were pertinent for the people doing their job down on the floor, but they would hold back information. They would hold back skill. They would hold back knowledge. You know why they would do that? Because they were fearful, man. They were fearful that somebody would knock them off their course, man. But that was a flawed mindset. That was a flawed mindset, because when I get there, I want to share it, man, because guess what? If you're doing better, then I'm doing better. So everything I know, I want y'all to know, because just like we just talked about how impactful it could be when we radically transform our life, and then that vibration starts to expand. Our kids, our spouses, our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters, our friends, our communities, bam. You see how big this thing gets when we share what we know? That person is going to be eternally grateful for you if you really help level up their job or their life, man. And you don't think they're going to come back and help you if they know something you don't know? Because I guarantee they do. Every human is superior to you in some way. It may be one damn way. It's something that you can learn from them. And it's something that they can learn from you. That's why it's so important that we remain open-minded and we listen to each other. And when you get there, share it, man. Share the knowledge. And when you start getting there, when you start doing these things we're talking about, having this championship mindset and implementing these strategies to radically transform your life, you're going to start a whole new addiction, man. Because let's be honest, all addictions based around feeling good, whether it be shopping, whether it be screwing, whether it be smoking, drinking, whatever. You're addicted to it because it feels good, man. And it's easier to get those things. They're easily obtainable. But this feel good that we're talking about takes some damn work, man. But if you work, then you get this feel good. All those addictions are going to be minimal, man, compared to what you now have. And now, once again, you're radically transforming your life. You're changing the energy, and that transformative power is growing and growing and growing, man. The results will be the new addiction. That high that you get from seeing you looking nice, or that beard looking good, or the muscle looking good, or, you know, my mind is clear, or whatever. I'm just feeling better inside. Whatever it is, that feel good is now your new addiction, man. Now let's get that ball rolling. You know, there's one thing to be said about balance in all things, but it's also a lot better to be addicted to those things than those other things we talked about. So let's change the addiction. Let's change the energy. Let's work past the period that we need to work with no results, with no joy, with no dopamine sparks. The work that we need to put in to cross that threshold, to get past that boundary, to now we're feeling the results. We're feeling better. And now we're addicted to that good feeling. And we're not chasing those other good feelings that are very, very much more temporary. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, results. Now I'm addicted to that, man. And now we're here. It's like, you did that, man. You did that. You got through all that stuff. You got through it now. You here, right? Now what? Are we gonna just coast off into mediocrity? Well, okay, I got sober. I got my kids back. I got my stuff together. I got through the divorce and figured it all out. And now I'm good. I'm not in that bad space I was in anymore. I'm good. I'm content now. I'm just going to be regular. Regular? Man, you done told me you done beat all that stuff and you're now just going to settle to be regular, man? That's not how it works, baby. It's time to level up on them, man. You did all that and you did it well. You got through it. You're here today. You're still standing. You're still strong. So why would you stop? Are you dead? Are you incapacitated in some way? No, man. Keep the foot on the throttle, man. Let's go. Let's go. But some people, they get discouraged because they want what they want, but they want it now. They don't put in all the work. They got there. Where's it at? Where's the reward? I want you to understand something. Time is the number one teacher. And I'm going to give you a couple examples. Number one is from one of my very favorite speakers that I speak about all the time, Jordan Peterson, where he says, if your dream was to have $10 million or $100 million, the number don't amount. And I'm paraphrasing this man's story. If your dream was to have $100 million, somebody just dropped it in your lap, would you even know what to do with it? Would you know how to manage it? Would you know where to put it? Would you know what you were giving out? What you were, what the taxes were on it? How to manage it? That's more difficult than you think. But let me change it into something that's more relatable to me, and then hopefully maybe my audience. I always look at it like this. It's like if you were an athlete and you were performance-wise good enough to make it to the NFL, and they dropped you in the NFL day one, would you, just based upon your skill on the field, know how to negotiate contracts, negotiate with your manager, handle the team politics, interactions with the coaches and teams and players, the media, you know what I mean? And on top of that, the money and making sure you're not getting robbed from all the jokers that are coming out of nowhere because now you got a little bit of money? No. But if you start in high school cultivating the skill, developing the knowledge on the college, more and more skill, more and more knowledge, and now you're at the NFL level, now you can able to handle all those things. It's just like I was talking to my wife when we're looking at another property and she goes, well, at what point do you think it gets unmanageable? And I said, it doesn't get unmanageable. I say, because now we have one property, if we're going to two, then as you learn, now that you have one, you're learning how to do it. And now you can get two. And then now you have two and you do that for a little while and you learn all the skills that you need to maybe add a third. And as you add and time passes, you learn all the ins and outs, all the little details, all the things that go wrong. Now, 10 years down the line, you can manage 15 properties without a problem because time is the best teacher. So don't always worry about what you want and wanting it now, because you may not want what you really ask for. You may not know what you really ask for, but if you want it and you really want it, stay fixated on it for long enough. And it'll happen slower than you want, but just always understand it's because the universe is getting you ready. It's getting you ready. You're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to work day in and day out. But keeping your mind fixated on that goal, that person that you want to be, and step by step, it's going to happen. And the lessons that you need, the stuff that you need to know here is in this space. And if you skip that space, it might fall apart. So take that time that God has given you to build your foundation, to let the time pass with you involved in your dream up until that point. You're going to learn all those lessons, man. That way, when you're here, you're going to stay there. And that's what I'm trying to tell you, man. So keep working. Don't matter how slow it is. As long as you're continually making progress, the dream is real, man. And the dream is alive. So let's go once again. So, yeah. So now we on to it, man. Now we on to it. So now we done worked all that way. And now we're here now. You made it. Do you hit the chill button? I had this debate with someone on Wisdom about spirituality versus success. And He said, you know, now I'm successful. Now I want to hit the chill button. He said, would you? I said, hell no. No, I want to hit the chill button. I shook so hard the beard shook. No, I'm not hitting the chill button. It ain't no way. You know why? Because now I'm up here, man. Now I'm swimming with the sharks. Now I'm up with the people that are sharp. They're on point. They're focused. They're driven. You know, that's why they're here. And then it goes another step further that they don't want you here, man. They tried to keep you down. And now you up here with the big dogs, swimming with the sharks. They might go out of their way to try to knock you down a notch. Man, that way I got to be putting in work. I got to elevate. I got to increase what I'm doing because now I'm up here, man, and I want to stay here. So as your success increases, your level of work increases. And I don't mean always physical work, hard labor at the computer. I mean you. Once again, the work on you increases. It's more prayers. It's more meditation. It's more workouts. You know what I mean? And then it is also, and we're going to do this talk on Ultimate Evening for creating greatness into relaxation as sort of an art. Because, yeah, the balance got to be there. And I don't always talk about it because it's not something I'm passionate about, relaxing. But it is absolutely a necessary ingredient. Leisure, relaxing. It's why you see me and my family traveling all the time. It's planned. It's not taken off. It's a big difference when the leisure, even if it's sitting on the couch, having some junk food if you want, that once a week or whatever you do, and watching TV, you know, my leisure activity is like playing video games. And we'll talk about that because it's sort of an active leisure, like focus very hard and eye-hand coordination, and it can actually help cultivate that skill. But excuse me, we're going to do that talk. So as you elevate and you get where you're swimming with the sharks, it's important to just stay razor sharp. That's all I mean. I don't mean no relax, no chill, no leisure. Yes, have those things. Balance your life out in the way that you need to do it. But it doesn't mean more physical work. It doesn't mean more work on your business or projects. In fact, the more success you have, the less physical work you should be doing, the less hands-on stuff you should be doing. So you should have the more time to sharpen our iron, sharpen our skill, to stay where we're at on the top. So yeah, we're not going to maintain. We're gonna elevate. Keep our foot on the pedal. Keep our boot on the neck. I'm rounding out to the end here, so stick with me for this talk. Stress. We want to talk about stress real quick, man. We want to talk about stress because stress gets a bad name in society. Stress is looked at as how to avoid stress and all these things. And I don't understand why people are avoiding stress. We don't need to be avoiding stress. We need to be managing stress because stress is a necessary ingredient in our life because it's like they say, pressure bursts pipes. Well, stress may take out the weak, man. But that's why we're keeping this championship mindset. That's why we're having this talk. That's why we're cultivating this skill, because stress is going to bridge the gap between the person that we are and the person that we're working to be. When we jump into uncomfortable situations to create growth, it's also going to create stress. That stress is going to create the pressure that doesn't burst pipes. It creates diamonds. It's going to open up and unlock new potential within your DNA and your mind when you're in that uncertainty, that stressful period. And it's going to forge you into the person that you want to be. That stress is going to bridge the gap. It's just like stressing your muscle. That's how it grows. So let's stop avoiding stress and let's start managing stress. I'm not striving for peace. I'm not avoiding stress. I'm striving for challenge because that's the way to create greatness. And if you do that, the percentages will mean nothing. Oh, this many people aren't getting raises. I am. These many people aren't buying homes. I am. You know, the percentage of people ain't doing well this year. I am. Because that stuff means nothing to you now. You're operating outside the box. You're operating outside the box. Being a championship mindset individual, being a leader, we must be a beacon of light. We must show our brothers and sisters the way to the light. We must provide hope and strength for those that are down. We must protect the weak. We must be a bastion of hope. An example of greatness in times where mediocrity is rampant. That's what we must do here as champions in 2023. And it is aggressive and it is direct and it can be very forceful. But one thing that my good friend CL The Source reminded me of, Unlocking Levels podcast, said it always got to come back to love, man. And I thank you, brother, from the bottom of my heart for reminding me of that. We can all get angry. We can all get frustrated. We can all get driven to the point where we don't pay attention to our other humans because we're so focused on improving ourselves and our families and our situations. And that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But CL was right. It always comes back to love.